Welcome to Expansion Lab, the expansion of love as I evolve. Let's learn together a holistic approach about how to connect mind, body, and spirit. In Naturopathic Medicine Part 2, we will talk about gut health, vegan versus meat eaters, and organic versus non-organic foods.
And yeah, we carry a lot in our gut. Like everything we can or cannot digest lives in our gut microbiome. Our sense of self, our sense of knowing. For women, our wombs are like very close to our other internal organs there. And
I hear a lot of people when they get to the food truck saying if it is vegan, and it kind of caught my attention these days that it's like a fashion, no? You gotta be vegan or you're nobody, or like, well, what is it? I don't eat meat, I don't eat red meat, and I mean, I respect anyone that doesn't want to eat meat or that eat meat. Like that's it. I think it's connected to me personally. It's connected to what you were talking about, intuition, to how your gut knows and feel like, do I want to eat this or no? Like that's how I eat, but that's my very personal way to do things. But is there a actual fact? Is there something? Is it bad to eat meat? I understand red meat is not good. I know, but what's your take on that as a naturopathic doctor?
yeah, it's such an important question, and I will say that I'm not here to say that anything is like bad or good. It's especially with veganism. I think that ethical, like people who are vegans for ethical reasons. I was vegan myself for a long time when I was in college, and it was all ethical, and also like I was doing yoga and I was like in this health era of mine.
And now we have Dr. Grant, an naturopathic doctor. It all makes sense.
Exactly. And, for me specifically, being vegan was actually very unhealthy for my body and for the way that I felt. And I'm somebody who believes like grass-fed meat, if it's good quality, is amazing for you. Even red meat, I think we should be eating fats and proteins and butter and eggs and or I should be. A lot of people, and everybody responds to things so differently. And so again, I'm not here to. I usually don't share a lot about my personal diet because
people are gonna copy and say, "Oh well, she did it. She said it."
And there's just so much like judgment, and people take it so personally. And so like I'm here to respect whatever choice you want to make and help you make the most informed decision that you possibly can. If you are a vegan, realistically, you should be supplementing unless you're doing an incredible job getting your nutrients. And most vegans are not. I have a few clients that are vegans, and all of them are on supplements because they need to be. They drink protein shakes in the morning, and we've found ways to support their diet to give them the micro and macronutrients that they need. And then also there's like, I personally, again, think that there's nothing wrong with high quality red meat. And so, it's like a little controversial. It's controversial, It's
controversial, but it's fine. Like it's what we were talking about, right? These days, if you say that you like this direction, it's like, whoa, that means that you don't like any of it. No, it's easy. Like it's all good.
It's all good.
This conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of it is like I believe in intentionally eating. I just did a candida cleanse myself, which was so intense. You can't eat any grains, any sugar, no fruit, no honey, no alcohol, no coffee, no, just like nothing. Basically, I was just eating like fat and protein, and I felt it took me a while because you have to detox all of that. And then I felt amazing, like more mental clarity, more less brain fog, more energy. I like was no longer bloated in the mornings. Like it just like helped me so much. And so
how long did it take? Or how long does it take, something like that?
I did it for 2 months.
Oh wow.
A very strict diet for 2 months. And I was crazy. I did it during the holidays. So like Thanksgiving and Chris, it was just like the worst.
You're like, oh no, sorry, I'm doing I can't
I
do
was
that.
like, nobody look at me, nobody talk to me. I'm in my during my day. But all of that to say, it's like and kind of coming back to the mind body aspect, it's like trusting your gut. And if you have, and that's like why I think that there are so many detoxes and things like that. It's like we're looking for our intuition, we're looking for our gut, and there's so much junk in there because our food is highly processed, highly toxic. You know, even our organic food does not have the nutrients that it used to have 20 years ago. It's like our food quality has become so diminished, and so the toxic load in the body has become so high that of course we're not digesting food properly. And then because our digestion is off and our hormones are off and our mental health is off and it affects the entire system. And so um
That's another interesting point, like the organic, right? Everybody want to eat organic. Not everybody wants to pay for it, but people want to eat for organic. I see the difference myself. Like if I eat a banana that is organic, it tastes totally different than a banana that is not organic. It's just a fact, and I always argue that with my husband because he's like everything is just they all taste the same. I'm like no. Let me tell you, this tastes much flavor. It's much better. It's like a tomato. When you get a
mhm,
tomato in a farmer's market that's organic, oh my gosh, I can get home and cut it and eat it by itself, like something that I
mhm,
never do with anything. It just tastes so delicious
yeah,
versus something that has some chemicals. And I understand a lot of people do it because it's cheaper, and yes, myself having a food truck, I now there makes a huge difference if you buy the fruits organic or no. But I do understand the difference between organic and organic food, and it's pricey, but there is a huge difference, and it's definitely impact your body, right? Um,
absolutely.
I was listening something about a show in NPR a long time ago about apples and what's like the huge difference between apples when they're organic and when they're not. The same thing then with the strawberries, and how many chemicals they get into, I don't know, the fields, right? Between like pesticides that they put in the ground to like, I don't know.
It's honestly so scary. Like farmers market is the way to go if you're looking to find produce, like, you know, even trying natural grocers, Trader Joe's, things like that. You know, sometimes it can be more expensive, but instead of getting like five different types of fruit, maybe just get one type of fruit and keep it for a week and then next week try something. That's what I do. Instead of, you know, going and buying three different things, I'll just get one high quality thing and it makes a huge difference. And yeah, you know, something that I'm really passionate about that I
Mhm.
just have to say, if you're going to get, I try to tell this to all my patients, is that coffee is actually one of the most toxic, heavily processed, heavily sprayed coffee. Like if you're going to switch, organic coffee is so important. I mean, grass-fed beef, if, pasture-raised eggs, like there are so many things that it's like, you know, people don't know the difference between a free range and a pasture raised egg. And I always tell people pasture raised is the best you're going to get. But coffee is something like
Tell
organic
me about
coffee
coffee,
beans.
please, because I drink coffee every day.
I know so many people drink coffee every day, and it's drinking organic coffee is very important. It's one thing that I'm like, change your change your coffee.
Okay, I'm gonna do it today. Tell me,
Yeah,
please, about coffee.
and you can go to Trader Joe's and get a cheap bag of organic coffee. It's like the same price, you know, there's or like local organic coffees are not maybe a dollar more, 50 cents more. Um, and it's so worth it to get organic coffee beans.
I
And
got
then
myself a mushroom coffee. Like still, the bag is there, and
yeah,
it doesn't taste that good. But I was like, okay, it's good for me. So, but I don't know if it's true. And I mean, I guess I needed to talk to you, Doctor.
but yeah, adaptogenic mushrooms can be so beneficial. You know, again, not every brand is created equal. And I think that's why having like a naturopath or like a friend who's a naturopath where you can send me a picture of it and I'll tell you if it's a good,
I
a
will
good,
take a photo of it and I'll send it to you because definitely
yeah,
I care about that. And
yeah.
recently, I got myself like a mixer, and I put there like oat milk, and I put like spoons of I have the 10 mushroom coffee, I think it's called, and the mushroom masha, and I like I don't know.
Mix them together. Yeah.
Yes, and it tastes, one tastes better than the other one, but I won't tell you which one. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I didn't know that, and I do drink a cup of coffee every day in the morning.
Yeah. So coffee is really important. And then water quality is also very important. I tell, again, this is something that I like talk to everybody about. Tap water in Arizona is like, should be illegal to drink. It's so there's so toxic. There's so much harmful stuff in our tap water here in Arizona. And so either going to a water store and getting RO water and then adding minerals back, which is a really important thing. You know, there's reverse osmosis water became super trendy, and then reverse osmosis water is actually really harmful unless you're adding minerals. You need to add the minerals back into the water. Otherwise, you're like depleting your body of minerals. So I recommend like RO water that you add minerals back into, or going to a water store or purchasing a water filter and like the Berkey water filter, or you know, there's so many options, but just being mindful of the fact that our tap water is really contaminated. And so drinking alternative water.
It'll be better. All right. So I actually having this conversation and recording this, it made me think that, and the conversation I had previously that I was telling you, it kind of made me think like, yeah, I should do like some, like, we should be able to talk about anything and be fine, but people these days feel like there is a judgment, or like when I say about the vegan or gluten free, it's like it's okay if you are either one. Like, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying like something that is common in the track. I seen these people, and I don't know, so many of them for sure are vegan, but some others are just saying because the friend did it, or like, I mean, it's just the way the humans work, right?
Yeah.
uh but yes, it's nowadays it's you never know,
It's
right?
very it's trendy. And that's the thing about like if you had asked me when I was in college or in med school, I would have told you that veganism was the thing. And so I think giving people the flexibility to like just giving people the opportunity to grow
There is
and
no
change their
right or
mind.
wrong. There is
There's
like, it's the way that you choose, right?
Yeah, and also you're allowed to have a belief and then like learn something new, and then that belief changes. You
Exactly.
know, as a doctor I'm constantly researching, and sometimes I'll learn something that's different than what I was taught in school because there's new research about it. And I'm like, "Oh, now I've learned something new and I'm going to incorporate, you know, like we're constantly
Flexibility.
yeah, flexibility. Like we're constantly learning new things. We're trying things out. Okay, I'm going to try on gluten-free for a while and see how that feels in my body. And honestly, gluten in the United States is pretty contaminated. It's pretty toxic. It's heavily sprayed, and it's one thing that I don't know if everybody, you know, some people not everyone has like celiac disease is a different thing than gluten intolerance, and I would say most people in the United States could have some sort of gluten intolerance, but it's mostly just because of the chemicals on the gluten. And then if you go to like Europe and they don't use the same toxic chemicals that we do, and then you can all of a sudden eat everything and you're fine. It's not always about the gluten, but it is something that is heavily processed. And so if you want to try out not having gluten for a while and see how you feel, then see how you feel. And then if you want to go to the farmer's market and eat a sourdough pastry, like by all means, live your life, you know, like it's just, yeah, I agree with you so much of like not being so strict and like giving yourself permission to see what actually works for you. And what actually feels like it's integrity and in alignment with your body, like that's going to be different for every single person. And so, you know,
Yeah, that
yeah,
is important. That flexibility, especially that we were also talking about, well, mindset, right? Anxiety, like fear, all those things that are happening in our environment, in everywhere, like society, community, a lot of people with fears, a lot of people with anxiety, like it's just a lot happening, right? But it's always kind of important to kind of keep your center, right? And align to what you believe and what you think and who you are, but be flexible and to know, like, my dad told me once that you can be like a stick. He said, be like a stick. The stick moves one side or the other one, but it's a stick, it's firm, like it doesn't mean that she's not going to break, right? So I always think about that, and I think, yes, it's okay. I can eat meat or I cannot eat meat. Like, I won't put myself in a box,
Mhm.
unless there is a box that, I mean, I must because I have to, etc. But I think that thinking like open minded, or like with flexibility in your heart and in your mind and sometimes even the speech, is good to, I don't know, to
Yeah,
find kind of
I
like a
agree
common space.
100%. I think all of us just want to be heard so badly and like validated so badly. A lot of my work is to like validate people's feelings during the day and then ask questions of like, okay, I hear you. That's how you feel. And like, here's a question, like, have you thought about this? And like, have you tried this, you know? And anyway, all of that to say is like, yeah, I agree. I've heard the same thing of like be like a tree, like movable but not breakable. And it's like I love to hear other people's perspectives, other people's point of view. Like I feel like I do one of my strengths is finding that neutral place, especially in the workplace where it's like we don't have to have the same belief system. I can still show up and support you in the process of you finding what works for you. And that's what I value, is not like putting my own opinions onto somebody else and making them take what I think is healthy and doing exactly what I do so that they're healthy the way that I am. It's like, no, what does health look like to you? And then how can I help you achieve those goals? Or maybe you have a goal that seems really far off, and I have some ideas on building blocks to get there, you know? So um
That's
yeah, there's
amazing.
yeah, we're never here to tell anybody what to do, what the right thing to do is. Unless you specifically ask me. Even
Unless you
then,
go to the doctor, unless you go to Dr. Grant, and Dr. Grant can tell you, like, I think maybe we should not eat this anymore. I think this is so beneficial. But
um,
yes, yes and no, because it sounds beautiful, but there is an actual, as you said, there is research, there is science behind. It's not just because you're imagining that, this person maybe needs it. No, I mean, there is a study, like, uh, it is naturopathic, but you have to go to school, you study for this, you're a science, you are Dr. Izzie Grant. So yes, you're flexible and beautiful, and the way that you do all your therapies and all your I don't know, appointments with all
yeah,
your clients, but there is a science behind that. And I
yeah,
think that sometimes naturopathic, or I mean, when people say about holistic medicine, that the integration of like everything, some people kind of like disregard because it's not like, because you didn't go to the hospital. Well, thank God you didn't have to go to the hospital, actually. Sometimes I think it's actually going back to the roots, right? Because when you think about your grandma, I think about my grandma, and she always would say she would drink milk with like cilantro, like celery, and she would blend it and honey, and she would drink that every day. But she was a smoker, and she died when she was like 80 something, and I love her to death. But she will always have like a natural medicine for everything.
celery is really good for your blood pressure. There's like so many like little tricks that can work like across the board, which is fun. And then I think it's mostly like with the diet thing and food sensitivities. It's, some people are sensitive to nightshades, and then some people can eat nightshades all day and never have an issue, which is like tomatoes or eggplants, things like that. um, some people can tolerate lactose, dairy, other people can't. And so, we have to find what works for each unique person. Um,
That's amazing. Alrighty, Dr. Grant, we've been talking here for an hour, and I know your time is valuable, and I'm not paying for it. So, how can people contact you? Anyone that is listening, um, you are here locally in Phoenix, so I know some people may be interested in going to a naturopathic doctor, and for whatever reason it is, being anxiety, being mental illness, which is something serious. And I think that we'll do other shows to talk deeply about that. This was more generic, and we actually touched a lot of, I think, good points. I like it. As I say from the beginning, this podcast is not going to be for experts. I mean, the experts are going to be the guests like you, but it's like for people that are curious about different tools that are available out there. And we are not saying do this one or the other one, but we'll show you the tools, and then it will be up to you, right? But for Dr. Izzie Grant, we'll give you definitely their phone number, their contact, and I highly recommend it because she's my doctor too. Thank you so much, Izzie.
So I'll just say thank you. First, thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun to chat with you about all of this stuff. I'm passionate about health and wellness and mindset and nutrition and all of those things. So it's always so much fun to get the chance to share. And if you want to contact me, I work at Unwind Health Spa in Scottsdale, Arizona. My phone number is 480-788-4733. So you can contact me there. You can either text or call that number and leave a message, and I will get back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Grant. My pleasure. I appreciate it. We'll have to go do yoga sometime soon. Thank you.
Yes,
For
bye.
real, please. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
I would love to. I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
If you like this show, please follow us on our YouTube channel for lives every week. And please give us a feedback, give us a review. And thank you so much.